aside from Nick's little quirks, you surprised Casey handled this Bills team so easily last night?
Not at all. I seen this coming. The Bills have no running game. And when you don't have a run game in a game like this and you can't control the clock, keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline, then you're just going to give him opportunity after opportunity. I said it last week, you know, and I don't know what happened to Devin Singletary throughout the course of the season. I don't know if he was hurt or if he was a little banged up, but he did not show up for the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season, and I think that hurt the Buffalo Bills. And you know, I say this, either the Buffalo Bills on defense are super slow or the Kansas City Chiefs is just that fast because McCole Hardman and Tyreek Hill looked like the same person yesterday. And you know, it's a credit to the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a credit to Andy Reid and Brent Veach and, you know, what those guys bring to the table in terms of personnel. They just outclass them. They beat them good. And you know, now they're advancing to the Super Bowl, and rightfully so. But you can't come in the game if you're Buffalo trying to pass the football 45 to 50 times and think that you're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs because you're going to get them too many opportunities, and it's just not going to happen.
It's a great
Vick, I love everything you said there, but let me play devil's advocate just for a moment. If you're the Buffalo Bills, you have to come into the game throwing 45 or 50 times because that's where your advantage lies. I don't know if you know, Mike, but Josh Allen is the MVP, not Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
The Bills scored more points. Wilds, don't okay me. You did a whole little mini rant on Friday. Oh, guess what? The Bills have scored more points than the Chiefs. The Bills are hotter than the Chiefs. The Bills blow people out. The Chiefs barely win these games. So the Bills went into the game believing the nonsense that they could get in a shootout with Kansas City. And you know what Kansas City did? They went on there, never seen anything like it, except the Chiefs have always done it, basketball-like runs. Can we show Patrick Mahomes' career in the playoffs real quick and the runs they went on in these games? This is remarkable, Brandon. 17-0 to start his first game ever. A 21-3 run, down 14-0. A 41-0 run. A 35-7 run. A 21-0 run to win the Super Bowl. A 19-3 run to start the game against the Browns. And a 38-6 run down 9-0. That is a run of at least 17 unanswered points, or lightly answered points, I should say, in every 16, I should say, in every playoff game they've ever played. So that's the story. The story is, Brandon, the avalanche is coming. And the Bills got buried by it because the 38 shouldn't have surprised them. Them only scoring 6, them kicking those 2 short field goals, I think McDermott would like those back. Dable would like those back. You got to try to get 7 there, and that's the story of the football game.
Yeah, look, Nick, what I've learned early on in my TV career is when you have a bad take, you just got to make fun of yourself. Here's the deal. I stood on the table all year for the Buffalo Bills because I truly believed in them. They were the underdogs. Nobody wanted to lean into the Buffalo Bills. For me, it goes back to the Jets. I go to the Jets. Everybody's saying, oh, it's a circus, and you have Geno Smith as quarterback. I truly thought I was going to win a Super Bowl. Geno Smith goes down. Ryan Fitzpatrick comes in. I still think I can win a Super Bowl. I was the guy in the locker room. We're sitting at 5-7. I'm the one looking at it like, oh, yeah, we're mathematically still in it. So I truly believe that the Buffalo Bills had a chance. I'm watching this game, and I'm like, oh, my goodness, this is like a college team playing against a high school team, or if you want to say an NFL team playing against a really good college team. They made them look bad, Kevin. You look at Leslie Frazier. Leslie Frazier in Week 6, the first time around, blitzed 1 time. Last night, the second half, they went from playing zone and trying to implement the same game plan that slowed down Mahomes and Andy Reid before and Eric Bieniemy, and then they start blitzing and playing man all over the place. And then when you look at the offensive side for the Buffalo Bills, they had no answer for Coach Spags and that defense. Coach Spags took that defense to a whole nother level. It looked like that was the 2005 Pittsburgh Steelers, Wilds.
Okay, I'm going to give you, it's not a bad take. The Bills were really good. The idea that the Jets could ever go to the Super Bowl, that's a terrible take. That should remain buried under the stadium somehow. Okay. The Chiefs' superpowers looked unstoppable. So when you look at Tyreek Hill and you look at Travis Kelce, They've just had monster games, and they had a monster game last week against the Browns and went for 220. So here's the other thing, Brandon, and I'm still mad at myself because you said something very interesting. If we can show this Tyreek Hill highlight. This is just a little pass across the middle. But one time Brandon said, we were in a meeting, Brandon said, yeah, every year I wanted to lead the league in yards after catch. I wanted to be the, wait for it, yak daddy. And I said, you wanted to be the what, Brandon? He's like, yeah, I wanted to be the yak daddy. I said, oh my God, yak daddy is a new segment. We still haven't done it. So Tyreek Hill, Tyreek Hill wins the Brandon Marshall Yak Daddy Award, and it's what makes them so dangerous.
That's right.
Little innocuous plays like this that seem normal turn into these huge gains, Brandon.
And that's why yes, Yak Daddy, that's when you have a guy like this, it just changes the dynamic of your entire team. This is why teams can't play them man-to-man. And this is why it was so upsetting last night, because Leslie Frazier didn't have an option. Because when they were playing zone, Patrick Mahomes was back there with all the time in the world to pick them apart. So they tried man, and this is what happened. So, yes, Tyreek Hill is the Yak Daddy, all right? And I'm sitting here, just sad because the Buffalo Bills didn't even give me a chance last night.
Not a chance.
You can't go.
Nope.
You can't go from being a zone team to playing man overnight. It just don't happen, and that was evident right there. When you can put the ball in the guy's hands like Tyreek Hill on a 5-yard slant, he could take it to the house. Then I'm looking for those matchups all day. It's obvious that Andy Reid understood what the mismatches was going to be, and he understood Sean McDermott's defense because they spend a lot of time together in the past.
And here's the other part of it, and this is why, because I do think that so here's an interesting thing we do on TV. We always talk about the quarterback matchups, right? Even though the two quarterbacks are never on the field at the same time. I do think that when it comes to teams playing Mahomes and the Chiefs offense, the opposing quarterback worries about the Chiefs offense. I think Josh Allen was pressing because he knows who's on the other sideline.
Yeah.
Since Mahomes threw his second interception in the Super Bowl last year, the Chiefs in the playoffs have had 19 drives that Mahomes was on the field for. In those 19 drives, they have scored 10 touchdowns. They have kicked 5 field goals. They have kneeled down 3 times. They have punted once, and they have 0 turnovers.
That's pretty good.
The offense has been unstoppable with him on the field.
Chiefs historian.
And the opposing quarterback knows it. And so because of that, he's all of a sudden sailing even more passes than he usually would. He, instead of taking a 3-yard sack, is turning it into a 17-yard sack because he feels like, I've got to spin out of this. I've got to make a play because you got Voltron sitting on the other sideline waiting for him. And so that, to me, is the story. I don't know what
the Chief had you on payroll for being a historian?
By the way, guys, I was also in that Yak Daddy meeting, and I thought we were having a different conversation. We got to have the Aaron Rodgers talk now. Why did he call his future in Green Bay uncertain? We'll tell you next. First things first.
Run to win the Super Bowl, a 19-3 run to start the game against the Browns, and a 38-6 run down 9-0. That is a run of at least